Took some enhancement drugs to make you better on the court, but then you blame it on mental health. Can we just stop the man? Just admit it. You cheated.
Paul George got suspended 25 games by the NBA for violating the anti-drug program, and nobody saw it coming. This was supposed to be the Sixers' year. George, Embiid, Maxey, their big three finally together. Just 4 days before the suspension, PG dropped 32 points with 9 threes against Portland. He was cooking. Then boom, suspended. The league didn't name the substance, but 25 games lines up perfectly with a first-time violation for drugs of abuse. Cocaine, opioids, ketamine, that category. Not marijuana, not steroids, right in the middle. George responded through Shams, saying he was seeking mental health treatment and took an improper medication by mistake. He took responsibility. He apologized. But a lot of people in the media, they weren't buying it, not even a little bit.
Some enhancement drugs to make you better on the court, but then you blame it on mental health. Can we just stop the man? Just admit it. You cheated. You need a little bit extra kicker.
Many in sports media felt PG was using mental health as a shield, a way to soften the blow and dodge accountability instead of owning it.
Just admit it. Just admit it. You're getting older here. You're feeling the weight of that contract. You want to make sure that you're a good player on the Philadelphia 76ers.
PG is 35, battled injuries his whole career, just signed a massive deal. The pressure was real. And maybe, just maybe, he took something to feel better, perform better, recover faster, then got caught and dressed it up as a mental health issue.
The fact that he deflected and made it about mental health was just crazy. Just own it and move on because, Donnie, nobody will care in another week.
PG wrapped it in mental health language, and that rubbed people the wrong way. Now, here's the money side. The suspension cost him $11.7 million in lost salary, but for the Sixers, it actually created an opportunity. Before the suspension, they were $7 million over the luxury tax. Suspended players don't count against your cap, so suddenly the Sixers dropped to just $1.25 million over the line. And if you're owner Josh Harris, you're doing the math fast. Your player got suspended for his own mistake, and now you're a sliver away from saving yourself millions.
You've got a team together that's finally winning. They put it together. You swallow hard, and you realize that you made the plan to be over.
In the NBA, a player's mistake can become an owner's opportunity. With the trade deadline on February 5th, the Sixers had a real chance to get under the luxury tax entirely. But something else happened in the aftermath that nobody predicted. PG's suspension accidentally ripped the lid off a conversation the NBA has been trying to keep quiet for years. Who else is taking things they shouldn't? Are there double standards? And the biggest name in that conversation? LeBron James. The moment PG got suspended, people started asking a dangerous question. If George gets 25 games for an improper medication, why isn't the league looking at everybody else? And this isn't a new accusation. It's been bubbling under the surface for years, but PG's suspension cracked the dam wide open. It involves big names, current players, retired legends, MMA fighters, and even the founder of the most infamous doping lab in American history. It starts with Chael Sonnen, former UFC contender, ESPN analyst, and a man who failed multiple drug tests, including a 2014 bust for EPO and human growth hormone that got him a 2-year ban. When Sonnen talks about PEDs, he's not an outsider. He's speaking from personal experience. And back in March 2023 on the Flagrant podcast with Andrew Schultz, Sonnen said something that shook the entire sports world.
There's only one. We have the same drug guy, if you will. I know exactly what he's doing.
Let that sit. A man who's been caught using EPO, punished for it, went on a major podcast and said he shares the same supplier as LeBron James, and he wasn't done.
EPO matters. It's the reason LeBron takes it. It matters. And if other basketball has understood what it did, EPO increases your red blood cells.
And then he broke down exactly what EPO does. It increases your red blood cells, giving you endurance.
gives you endurance so you can play all game long. You can shoot in the fourth
More
quarter
red blood
just like
cells,
you
more
shot in the
oxygen
fourth
in your
minute.
red blood cells. Okay, got you.
According to Sonnen, EPO is why LeBron at 41 can still play 35 minutes a night looking like he hasn't lost a step. He called it the king of performance enhancers and compared LeBron's regimen to the Lance Armstrong diet: EPO, human growth hormone, and testosterone. He even doubled down on the PBD podcast in 2024, saying he and James share the same dealer and sees nothing wrong with it. But this wasn't just one MMA guy talking, because the next person to weigh in was a Hall of Famer who spent his career going head-to-head with LeBron. On February 23, 2024, Kevin Garnett was on his KG Certified podcast with Paul Pierce. They were debating whether Bronny could score on his dad one-on-one. Pierce said yes. Garnett disagreed. And then he said this.
Trying to get a bucket on Bron right now? Yeah, he can get a bucket on Bron right now. Nope.
Pierce said Bronny had the quickness. Garnett wasn't having it.
He is, but you seen his dad? His dad on that balcony. He on that new juice.
He on that new juice. Garnett laughed it off. But that was a direct reference to Balco, the Bay Area Laboratory Cooperative, the most infamous doping lab in sports history. The same lab that supplied Barry Bonds, Marion Jones, and Tim Montgomery with undetectable steroids. When a first ballot Hall of Famer says Balco and new juice in the same sentence about another player, that's not a throwaway joke. That's a man telling you something without telling you something. Then came Tracy McGrady. April 2025, T-Mac was asked about LeBron's longevity. His answer was careful, but it was loaded.
A 40-year-old man doing the basketball court is the greatest thing I ever seen in sports.
Yeah.
I would say that. It is the greatest thing my eyes have seen in sports.
T-Mac was genuinely in awe of what LeBron was doing. Then the tone changed.
It seems like he can play till he's 45 if we want to, 48 if we
I don't know
want to.
how he's doing it.
Yeah.
I hope it's the right way.
A former peer, a fellow Hall of Famer, expressing real doubt about how LeBron is maintaining his body. T-Mac even said if it wasn't the right way, it would be devastating to the sport. He didn't accuse, didn't name names, but the implication was crystal clear, and everybody watching knew exactly what he meant. Then came Jeff Teague. July 2025, the retired NBA guard went on his Club 520 podcast and just flat out said it.
He was on steroids, bro. He had to sit out. He was on steroids for real.
Teague wasn't vague, wasn't subtle. He pointed to a specific moment during LeBron's Miami Heat days when the league started testing for HGH, and suddenly LeBron sat out with a back injury, then came back noticeably thinner.
They was like, yo, and he had to sit out. Like, he said his back was hurt, and he sat out for like 3 weeks, and he came back skinny.
Teague later walked it back on Patreon, said he was joking, that it was praise taken out of context, said the media clipped him up and made it look like something it wasn't.
We were literally giving LeBron praise of how dominant he was.
Yeah, y'all wasn't really watching the show. And I mean, that's why shit get clipped.
But the damage was done. Teague even revealed Draymond Green DM'd him to keep LeBron's name out his mouth, and his own father called asking if he was trying to get the family killed. Then respected NBA insider Rick Booker from Fox Sports poured gasoline on the fire, revealing that PED speculation about LeBron isn't just a fringe theory. It's basically an open secret among NBA players, coaches, and executives. Insiders treat it as fact, casually responding with, "Oh yeah, that's going on." Booker admitted he had no proof, but made it clear that inside NBA circles, the belief is widespread and matter of fact. So by the time Paul George got busted in January 2026, all of this was sitting there, ready to explode, and the people who had been whispering were about to start shouting, because here's where everything collides. PG gets suspended, blames mental health, media questions him, and then the basketball world asks the one question the NBA doesn't want anyone asking. If you're punishing Paul George 25 games for an improper medication, why aren't you testing everybody else at the same level? Why aren't you looking at LeBron James? That's exactly what Gilbert Arenas and Rashad McCants brought up on Gil's Arena on February 3, 2026. The whole panel was sympathetic to PG. The injuries, the mental toll, the massive championship pressure, but they couldn't ignore the elephant in the room.
Just lost one of the players of the big three for 25 games. We all seen it.
Arenas acknowledged how devastating it was. Losing a key piece of your championship puzzle for 25 games mid-season is brutal. But then the conversation turned to what triggered the test in the first place.
Out there doing windmills and 360s. You can't do that, man. You just can't do it.
Arenas was pointing out what everybody noticed. PG just dropped 32 points, 9 threes, dunking with authority, moving like a man 10 years younger. And according to the Gills Arena panel, that kind of vintage performance at 35 is exactly what triggers enhanced testing. Somebody at the league office raises an eyebrow, says, let's take a closer look. And when they did, they found something.
You just can't get caught. I believe him when he say this is mental health medicine. If I can't do this I want to do because of my body.
Arenas made a distinction people missed. He wasn't saying PG was wrong for wanting to feel better. He was saying the system doesn't care about your reasons. You take something unapproved and get caught, that's on you. But why isn't that same standard applied across the board? McCants drove it home. Why does Paul George get caught while other players don't face the same scrutiny? Clearly referencing LeBron. He also tied in the cultural aspect, how mental health stigma in the Black community pushes athletes towards shortcuts because asking for help is seen as weakness. That's real. But the double standard conversation is what really stuck, because the math doesn't add up. LeBron is 41 years old, 23rd NBA season, averaging 22.5 points, 7.2 assists on 60% true shooting. Numbers most players in their prime would be proud of. Never tested positive for anything in over 2 decades. But the whispers never stop, and the whispers have a paper trail. Because here's what mainstream media has largely avoided for years: the biogenesis connection. Back in 2013, the DEA launched Operation Strikeout into Biogenesis of America, an anti-aging clinic supplying PEDs to professional athletes. It brought down Alex Rodriguez, Ryan Braun, and led to 20-plus MLB suspensions. But the investigation didn't stop at baseball. Unredacted DEA documents, over 1,400 pages, revealed that LeBron's personal trainer David Alexander and his childhood friend and business manager Randy Mims were both implicated as clients of a key figure in the Biogenesis network. The supplier told investigators he provided Alexander with peptides, testosterone, and HCG over several months, and Mims, described in DEA documents as LeBron's manager, was observed purchasing testosterone and metabolism-boosting injections. Now here's what's important. The DEA's lead agent stated clearly there was never any indication LeBron did anything wrong. Never interviewed, never charged, case closed without action. But the proximity, his trainer, his business manager, his inner circle, kept speculation alive for over a decade. And when Balco founder Victor Conte went on the Dan Le Batard show in March 2024 and said there was reason to be suspicious of LeBron because of these associations, the conversation went from whisper to roar. And that's the world Paul George accidentally stumbled into by getting caught, by explaining it away with mental health, by shining a spotlight on the NBA's drug testing policies. He didn't just expose himself, he exposed the entire system, the inconsistencies, the question of why a 35-year-old gets 25 games and $11.7 million in fines, while a 41-year-old accused by MMA fighters, Hall of Famers, NBA insiders, and connected to a federal doping investigation continues to play without so much as a raised eyebrow from the league office. The Sixers were left picking up the pieces. Coach Nick Nurse called George part of the family and said the team was moving forward. The NBA on Prime crew tried to spin it positive, talking about how Kelly Oubre was back and Maxey could carry the load.
I think in adversity, there's opportunity. So obviously this is an unfortunate situation. No one wants to see him miss time, especially under these terms.
That's the NBA's way. Spin it and move forward. But the questions aren't going anywhere. Here's the uncomfortable truth the NBA doesn't want you thinking about. LeBron spends over $1.5 million annually on body maintenance, cryotherapy, hyperbaric chambers, personal chefs, specialized recovery. His fans say that's why he's defied Father Time. His critics say it's the perfect cover story. And the NBA's own testing? Players get tested randomly up to 4 times per season. But critics argue EPO and microdose substances can clear your system within hours, making them nearly undetectable for anyone who knows what they're doing. As of February 2026, LeBron has never tested positive for anything. No proof, no failed test, no formal investigation. But what Paul George's suspension accidentally revealed is that this conversation isn't just happening on podcasts anymore. It's happening inside the league, among players, among coaches and executives who watched LeBron defy every known law of athletic aging and quietly wonder how PG took one pill he wasn't supposed to take and got caught. In getting caught, he didn't just lose 25 games and $11.7 million in fines. He became the flashpoint for the biggest unanswered question in professional basketball. And whether the NBA likes it or not, that question isn't going anywhere anytime soon.